Jumping right into it, man, you created this twisted, wild psychological ride that hits you emotionally from so many different angles. In your brain, where did you dig to come up with this inspiration and script?
Twisted. I thought it was more of a loving family drama like This Is Us. That's not
movie.
How it comes off.
Right, feel-good movie of the year.
Well, I originally dreamt the trailer, so you'll have to ask my subconscious or my unconscious, depending on what word you want to use.
Is that safe to dig in there?
Yeah, I don't believe me. I've been digging there for a long time, and there's nothing but old skeletons back in that thing. But I dreamt the trailer, and that's when I wrote it, and then I just had a need to write the whole screenplay and see what happened myself, and that became this awful, horrifying, torturous film, which we love and was a magical experience filming, but is really pretty tough to watch in a lot of ways.
Personally, I kind of describe this as Lord of the Flies meets Reservoir Dogs with a twist of Glengarry Glen Ross.
The Glengarry Glen Ross, that's the one I use all the time because I think that's very accurate.
How do you describe the film?
The Belko Experiment is about a group of people who are trapped in a building and are forced to kill each other and kind of take it from there. But I think it's a lot of the fear of the fluorescent lights. It's that place that's incredibly ordinary that you think is the most normal place in the world, going to your office every day and sitting in the cubicle and something goes horribly wrong, and even that place isn't safe.
Do you enjoy the experience of creating that kind of psychological attack, or do you find it a little bit disturbing as you're doing it? You can feel that tension.
I find it disturbing as I'm doing it. I really do. I think that it's a lot about the ethical conversation that the characters have is a difficult one for me to even contemplate because I wouldn't want to be put in that situation. And that the scary, hellish thing to me isn't just the violence and the killing each other, but it's having to be forced into making any choice at all around this particular subject. So I think that's really scary. And also, I fall in love with the characters I write. And I'm writing these characters, I love them, and then I'm the one who's the voice who's making them shoot and kill each other, and there's a weird sort of guilt that comes from that process. It was a difficult movie to write for a lot of reasons.
And as you have a habit, you sprinkle a little sardonic humor in there as well.
Well, people are funny, aren't they? So, I don't know if it's so much me sprinkling humor in there, but characters in themselves, human beings are funny. And I think especially, I used to work in a hospital. I was the guy who had to move the dead bodies because everybody else was afraid of them. You have a sort of gallows humor that helps you to survive those difficult situations of seeing kids come into the emergency room with their, legs, busted and, people in motorcycle accidents and all this stuff that you're around every day. And you start to incorporate a type of humor into your life to help protect you. And this is really what humor is for anyway. It's protecting that side of ourselves that's more emotional and vulnerable.
Quick change of subject. I had a chance to talk with Chris Pratt up at the Toronto Film Festival.
I'm
and he
sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I endured it. I made it through.
Yeah.
But he is juiced. I mean, he is fired up about
juiced
Guardians
like on
number
steroids.
2.
Yeah.
Chris he did look pretty good.
Yeah.
You're funny. I like it. But he was going out of his mind with excitement talking about putting that into the universe.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, man?
I'm the same way. Chris and I have been partnered up from this movie from the beginning, and it's something that when I first told Chris the idea for Guardians Volume 2, we were sitting alone in my family room, and he started breaking down crying. That's the absolute truth.
What brought him to tears?
Well, you'll see when you see the movie, there's a lot of really emotional stuff in the movie, which I think is going to take people by surprise. I think it's as funny as the first film. I think the action is better than the first film, but I think that there's a lot of truly emotional stuff in the film where we're delving deeper into these characters, and that's why it was so exciting for me to be able to get Volume 2, is to be able to go deeper into these characters we've already fallen in love with and get to know them a little bit better and see different sides of each of them that we didn't get to see in the first film.
I can tell you're truly proud of this, aren't you?
Hand in my heart, the best, most fulfilling creative experience of my life was creating Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I got to do everything I ever wanted. I'm so grateful to not only my great cast, who have just been completely supportive of me the whole time, but Marvel, who have let me run wild on this thing. Thank God they don't know how to handle the Guardians. Because they let me do it. I'm surprised they've let me do what I do, and I just love them to death. It's been a great experience.